What's up, people? This is Seanstradamus, the sports genius, formerly known as Sean Don. Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Mad Sports Fan, coming to you Saturday, September 1st, 2012. Before I get off into what grinds my gears in the world of sports this week, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by none other than the World Series of Dice and Negro Modelo. So back to what grinds my gears in the world of sports, and who grinds my gears in the world of sports are white people who are acting all offended by what Alan Pinkett said about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Alan Pinkett said that Notre Dame needs a few bad citizens and people who are basically criminals to be on their team to make the team better. He said that in light of the 4 players that got suspended for the criminal activity that they did within the past few months or so. That being said, here's my problem. Why are you acting like when he said criminal activity, he meant he want people to put on ski masks after the fucking game and go rob a liquor store? That's not what he meant. He did not mean it like that. He didn't mean he needed Drew Peterson on the team and he wanted dude to fucking kill both his wives and fucking get a limousine and put on some sunglasses and start smoking cigars after the game. That's not what he meant. You know goddamn well what he meant too. You people are so full of shit that your whole eyeball was brown. You know what he meant. He meant you want people like Bill Romanowski, somebody who's just so on the edge that he's going to eventually go too far and spit in your face, which is borderline a criminal activity in itself. It's one of the most vile activities. That's what he meant. He meant he wants somebody on his team like AJ Przinsky, somebody who's going to get underneath the other team's skin so bad that their player is going to want to bust on him and punch him in his eye. That's what he meant. He meant people like Jerome Harrison, I keep saying Jerome, my bad. James Harrison, who Roger Goodell tells time and time again, he said flat out, dude, stop knocking these wide receivers what they call the fuck out when they come across the middle of the field. Stop doing it or I'm going to bust your ass. And the very next week, James Harrison comes out and knocks these wide receivers what they call the fuck out. And they'll be like, man, why did I have a 3-game suspension? Like, he's talking about people like that. And you know it. What's worse is this. It's not the fact that he said he wants criminals and people like that on the team. It's the fact that basically in layman's terms, by saying you need some tougher guys on Notre Dame's team, he basically was like, man, Notre Dame got a bunch of pussies on their team. That's basically what he said, and that's why you're mad. And you know it. That's the only reason you're mad. Basically, my advice to Alan Pinkett is to go out and talk to Herman Edwards and take classes from him on how to be a fucking world-class liar. Because Herman Edwards has that down pat. I'm sitting up there listening to this dude the past few weeks, and he's talking about Jonathan Vilma and Bounty Gate and saying, man, we never tried to hurt people when we played. That wasn't old school. Like, nigga, you played for the Steelers in the 70s. Everybody in the 70s and 80s wanted to bust that ass. You gonna tell me with a straight face that y'all wasn't trying to end people's day? Yeah, I get it. You weren't trying to make his mama have to buy a black dress. I get that. Nobody said that. But you were trying to have his afternoon ended soon. Because all that striking fear into players, that shit don't work. That only works against pussies. You go against John Elway, Dan Marino, Warren Moon, Steve Young, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, all of them motherfuckers today. You can try and strike all the fear you want into them. If you don't knock them out of the game, at the end of the game, they're going to come back and they're going to tear patch out your ass. You basically gonna be like, I won, give me my money. What? I lost. That's basically what's gonna happen. Get that strike fear shit out of here. And then another thing, I'm so glad that we're talking about this discussion. I led off with college football. So I want to get back to that. That's another thing that grinds my gears, the fact that college football started this week. And I can't stand college football. I love sports. I can't stand college football because it's the most rigged sport ever. It's the only sport I know that 99.9% of the teams in college football know they're not going to win the fucking national championship. I don't care if they go 37-0. And they say, yeah, you got Boise State. Dude, Boise State can add 15 games to their schedule this year and go 27-0 or 28-0. And if Alabama, USC, Michigan, Notre Dame, whoever, if they go 12 or 13-0, they're going to win the national championship. Period. I don't give a shit what you say. If you say they're not, you're more full of shit than a Christmas turkey. And you know it. I've honored college football since '93 when they gave Florida State the national championship over Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame beat the shit out of Florida State. They both had one loss. Notre Dame's one loss came to Boston College. Florida State's one loss came to Notre Dame. Now, their argument was, dude, Boston College is a weak-ass team. Guess what, man? I beat you, though. I don't care. We both have one loss, and I beat you. I don't give a fuck if I lost to Nat King Cole's upper elementary school. If I beat you for your one loss, and I still only have one loss, I'm not honoring you being ahead of me in the polls. That's crazy. I don't care. Head-to-head matchup is always the number one tiebreaker. It always has been. College football is just full of shit. They're bogus. It's never going to be right until they get a real playoff system. I'm not talking about like a 4-team or 8-team. They need like a serious overhaul. And they need a playoff system. A serious playoff system. So that's why I basically, in order to learn the NFL players, I listen to Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Jr. and figure out who they say are the cold players and who they say are the bums. And then I follow those players to see if those players are actually bums and see if Mel Kiper Jr. and them are out of their rabbit-ass mind or not. That's basically what I do. Because I'd rather read Steve Harvey's dumbass Think Like a Man book but act like a woman or watch some of his old episodes of Me and the Boys. I'd rather watch that shit and read that book than to fucking watch college football. That's why I'm shooting this episode right now. College football is on, but I shoot this episode before I fucking watch college football. There you have it. Another episode of the Average Man Sports Fan. If you liked it, comment. If you didn't, go fuck your mother. Peace.